Hi, this is LC Clements, and on today's episode of Lone Wolf Chat, we're going to explore the question of should fandoms dictate how a story is worked. And before I get into this video or slash podcast, I just want to ask the question, answer the question is, what's a fandom? Generally, it's a bunch of geeks getting together and, geeking out and exploring their favorite topics of their show slash book slash video game slash anime slash manga, any type of social media or forms of media. And they get together and generally they make fan fiction, talk about on podcasts, make fan videos, make music videos, that sort of thing, fan art. But the question is, should you let these group of people dictate how you write your story? And the reason why I bring this up is because in the year of 2019, we have had a couple of shows that have been dictated by their fans. One of the most infamous being Star vs. the Forces of Evil, which people are still talking to this day about how terrible the finale was. From Tom's apparent breakup with Star all the way to the ending where they just say hi and that's the end of it. There was no, apparently some people feel like there was no depth to the story, to the ending, the final season, to the characters that were introduced in the final season. No backstory really to them. But is this because of dictation from the fans, or is this from Disney themselves, who are the people that actually, produce the series? Because when you think about it, Darren F.C., the creator of the series, does respond to her fans in little hints and ways. One of the most infamous was the episode where Star had to solve a math problem back in season, I believe it was 2, and we saw boy Star. And then there was another episode where they explored different dimensions of the same type of universe of Star vs. Force of Evil, where there was a different type of fandom character created that was included in an episode. So Darren F.C. is known to respond to her fans, but she does it in a subtle way. But did her series ultimately and was quote unquote tainted by her fan base? Not necessarily. It could be executive decision to end the show, and they were forced to rush the ending of the show. Another series that may have suffered from this was Voltron Legendary Defender. In Voltron Legendary Defender, that is a whole different can of worms, and there are plenty of other people out there who have actually explored the production of the series and its downfall and how the series got bad. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the fans had any hand in how the series ended. And how do I know this? Well, it's been posted online everywhere about the mandates from the editorial team from DreamWorks. Part of it is, in that particular case, was because the team that was making Voltron Legendary Defender at that time were fans of Shiro. Not them, but the directors or executive producers were fans of Shiro, and they wanted to shill the crap out of Shiro and create massive appeal and massive toy collection and sales, because of course the fans love Shiro, and the executive producers picked up on this and wanted to shill the crap out of him. Problem was, this character was dead, so they had to, and they had already written multiple seasons and decided that they were going to kill him off. But the editorial team said, no, you're going to put Shiro back on here and you're going to do it now. So they had to do some cutting and pasting, take out certain characters like Keith and have him go off somewhere with his mom, and have Shiro there acting as Keith's character the whole end of the series, which is why people felt cheated, on top of the LGBTQ plus stuff that was going on with Shiro being gay, and he didn't really get a boyfriend until he got married in the series, and we were like, who the F is this guy? Besides all that, the only hand that I believe the fandoms had their hand in really was the LGBT thing and the relationship problems, because a good chunk of the relationships that happened in the series did not pan out or were fully developed, such as Cheryl's husband. You know, Adam and that whole kill the gays thing, where his boyfriend and him broke up. Adam died fighting the Galra, and he came home to find out his boyfriend died, and then he had a boyfriend who kind of showed up in the background. We didn't know who was his boyfriend, and then he married him at the end of the series, which was like, what? Then there was the queer baiting between Keith and Lance, which people still debate to this day if it was queer baiting. I believe it was queer baiting because they were kind of setting it up that these two were going to have a romance, and then they said, oh, no, he's going to go with Laura. And that whole thing was warranted out of nowhere. We knew Lance was fake flirting, but it could be him putting on a front. That's the way they had to set up. So that's one example of that's really the only times fans really outraged, and that's because of the queer baiting / the relationship issues that they didn't even really develop. Even the whole thing with the Latora, which is Lance and not Lance, it was what was his name? Lotor and Allura, that sort of thing. So that's only one example, or the second example I really have of fandoms. But when you go into writing, it's really hard for writers out there to balance how they want to do their stories, because people get really upset when their fans or their characters they fall in love with don't work out the way you think it does. I even remember when BioShock Barrel C came out, and at the end Elizabeth died, and there were people out there who were upset that they carried off the character, even though it was kind of hinted that she was going to die in the first place. People were just not happy with what happened, and the fans raged. And I think the reason why Ken Levine killed off that particular character is so no one else can reuse Elizabeth or Booker. But that didn't stop them, because the new BioShock is coming out in the next couple of years. But anyway, but the question is, fandoms, can they dictate how a story should be written? I say no, because the problem with people jumping into your story is, I'm trying to say the nicest way to say this, because this is not an anti-fandom video. I have no problem with fandoms. I'm part of the K-pop fandom, and I like their music. It keeps me awake in the morning and keeps me nice and pumped up. I don't mind there are plenty of fandoms I'm not really quote part of, but I don't mind them, because, you know, to me, in my age, I kind of just go, okay, you said what you wanted to say. Yes, it's off the wall, but whatever. It's the internet. You know, people say off the wall crap all the time. But this is not an attack on fandoms. I just want to point that out there, because I know someone in the comments section below is going to say, you hate fandoms. No, I don't really hate fandoms. If it wasn't for fandoms, a lot of shows wouldn't get off the ground. What I hate is the toxic behavior that can destroy a writing career. You've seen what they've done to Star vs. Forces of Evil. We've seen what happens with Star Wars. We've seen, even though my husband has pointed out to me 1,000 times, it's not really the fans, it's more of an SJW thing. So go figure. But we've seen it with Harry Potter, you know, with J.K. Rowling, you know, listening to what the fans want. We've seen what happens when when people start harassing you to death. Remember the end? I don't know if anybody remembers this, but when Evangelion ended the way it did, there were death threats sent to the company. Death threats over the way end of Evangelion ended, which it was sucked. I am not gonna lie, I hated it, but I didn't need to send a death threat. I was just like, this sucks, and that was supposed to be the end of it. But no, this is not an attack on fandoms. I just think we all need to chill out a little bit. You know, if the story don't work out my way, that's what fan fiction's for. You know, just write a fan fiction, write your own ending if it's that deep for you. But fandoms, in my opinion, should not dictate how you write a series. In fact, just not too long ago, the season finale of Miraculous Ladybug just came out, and people went wild all over Reddit and Tumblr over the finale, which, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, even though it's been out for like months now. Marinette and Luke, not Luca, Marinette and Adrian didn't get together, even though we've been hinted since season 1 that they're going to get together. I was like, okay, so they're not going to get together. Fine, cool, whatever. Maybe you don't always get the guy at the end. Maybe Marinette needs to work on Marinette before she gets with this dude and ruins his life because, you know, his dad's all... We've already seen one episode what happens if she gets with him too early. Adrian will blow up the universe, apparently. But it was toxic. You know, they were blowing up Thomas Estruck's Twitter page with all types of hate and, you know, baiting them because the relationship didn't work out, which, mind you, I had to take into consideration the fact that a good chunk of the fan base is like 14, 15 years old, maybe 13. The series is not directed towards adults like me. So I took it in stride that, okay, well, this is the end of it. I guess they're not going to get together right now. Fine, cool, whatever. We know this happens in the writing process. But these people were literally just, you know, dumping on this guy. The guy who's writing the series because he didn't give you what you... Oh, okay. Because people didn't get what they wanted. That's not cool. What are you guys really trying to get out of this? As a fandom, to get him to change your series so Marinette and Adrian will get together? They're probably gonna get together anyway without you guys jumping down the creator's throat. And it wasn't just him that made the decision. There's a team of writers out there, not saying to go after them either, but it's not that serious. There's probably a good chance that your fans will get together, but the series hasn't ended yet. There are so many storylines, such as the background of how Adrian's mom got sick and why she's still in a coma in the house, and how that's what my whole focus on, and how Adrian never really found out his mom is in the house. I mean, how do you not know your dead or comatose mother is in your dad's office, even though he is hidden behind a wall? But I don't think it's that hard to figure out, you know, by messing around with books that, hey, why is mom in here? What's going on? I mean, we've seen what happened. He almost destroyed his dad when he found his dad was talking about him. But my God. Yeah, the death threat isn't cool. And, you know, to answer that question, no. A fan base should not dictate how a writer writes their story. Because when you dictate how to write somebody else's story, you ruin it for everybody else. There might be someone out there who's cool with the fact that Adrian and Marinette don't get together. In fact, there's a Luke and Ned fan base out there too. There's an Adragami. Oh my God, I'm going off topic here. There's a Luca and Adrian together. There's so many fandoms out there. People are cool with it. If you don't like the way your story is, you know, the writer's story is going, you do have the option of not reading it. You do have that option. You do not have to sit here and, you know, harass the head writer because you didn't get what you want. It ain't cool. And the reason why I say a fandom should not dictate how a story goes, because the story itself will become confusing. Look at J.K. Rowling. She keeps changing her mind how the story works about crimes of getting Grittenwald and the other series, and the Half-Blood Prince was just plain awful. You know, she kind of let her fandom dictate how the story was to be written. And some of it was J.K. Some of it, I will admit, was J.K. She wanted to rewrite the story, but the story was finished. When you let people dictate how your story is supposed to be written, you lose your continuity. I mean, look at J.K. This has happened to her story. I got confused. I'm like, wait a minute. So, okay, wait, so you're telling me that someone as righteous as Dumbledore got with Grindelwald, this infamous killer criminal, played by the awesome Johnny Depp, by the way. But no, that doesn't seem, it seems out of character for Dumbledore. Maybe, you know, if they were like teenagers, but these were full-grown men getting together. This guy is a criminal. He's killed people. And that's completely against Dumbledore's character. He tries to save lives, not destroy it. And then you got, I mean, you got so many other stories written out there right now that have been dictated by fan bases because people get angry. The most famous one is the stories where people don't get together at the end. In fact, I've seen it in Korean dramas where it was a Taiwanese drama I saw where this woman took plastic surgery to look like another woman, and the guy that she was with paid her to do this because they didn't want to, he didn't want to admit his fiance died because of some big corporate thing. He fell in love with her, and another guy who found out she was missing ended up knowing he loved her. At the beginning, she was ugly. She became beautiful. They fell in love with her for her personality, but she chose not to get with either one of them. It's an okay story to have. You don't always get what you want in the end, but it seems like now with fandoms, you have to give them what they want. And I don't think that's right. It's not right to push the author or creator of a story to dictate what you want them to do. That ruins it for everybody else. And it makes a story really annoyingly predictable. I personally don't want a story where somebody goes, oh, okay, where character A gets together with character B, but oh no, character A has been killed, so character B gets with character C, who actually killed character A. It gets predictable. I don't want to see that. I'd rather character B, who's actually the main character, develop their personality and become a better person and decide, you know what, I choose me. That's a better storyline than this person killed this person, and it's a big whole storyline about, justice for that person. But oh my God, that's the person I love, and he killed. No. It becomes confusing, a muddled mess. That's not how a story should be written. A story should be clear and concise, and should be a broad spectrum for everyone, not just one set of people. That one set of people is a small percentage compared to a small percentage compared to the bigger picture out there. We've already seen what happens when you give in to what other people want. Everybody suffers. And everybody shouldn't suffer for a small percentage of people. So going forward, I'm hoping in 2020 we get to the point where we don't get everything dictated by fandoms. I like my stories. I like the fact that I have fully developed characters. When you dictate to your fans, when fandoms dictate how this, revise this. When people dictate how the story is supposed to be written, you take out pieces of what the character is supposed to be. That's not fair to everyone. You're not going to get what you want in the end. When you get what you want, the story becomes predictable, it gets boring, and I frankly don't want to see that for my own personal story. If you don't like the story, you have a right to your own opinion. If you send me death threats, on the other hand, I'm going to go, okay, and I'm probably going to just delete it. The one thing about writing, I've heard from other professional writers, I want to say people who've actually published stories, don't look at the comics section. It's just going to mess with you. And I think that's true. Most of the fans are in the comments section, and the ones who get the most toxic, evil things to say to people are there. They're there, and they destroy a story ultimately because people get sensitive. You get into your own feelings because you've worked hard on this story, and it's almost like these people don't understand. I worked hard on this story, and I don't appreciate you reading up my story to the point where I have to rewrite something just to get people to read it because you wrote something out there on the internet, and now I've lost a whole bunch of fans because you think that what you say goes. That's not cool. So no, in short, we shouldn't have fans dictating everything as written. Now, let's say they say something racist and they say something controversial against, a certain class of people, then yeah, you have a right to say something. But if it's because some characters didn't get together, or these people didn't get married, or these people didn't have a baby, and this person chose to to not get married at the end, that's not a reason to go on the internet and harass the crap out of somebody. That's not a reason to send bombs and death threats and flammable objects to throw at people and burn down an entire office. That's not cool. So I want to go into 2020 with a complete story. I want one well-written story or movie or other form of media that is not being dictated by fans. Yes, we have a right to our own opinion. Yes, we have the right to like the story, but that does not give us license to go around giving death threats It does not give us license to harass people, and it does not give us the right to say something negative. So a story is brought down to its lowest common denominator because you didn't like the way someone said something to you or was said about you. And it has now been 20 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up the podcast here. If you like what you hear, please subscribe on my iTunes channel, my Spreaker, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts at, on my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe, and get the comments down below. Please support the production. I have a donation page, which is ko-fi.com. That is ko-fi/LC Clements. Thank you guys for listening, and I will talk to you guys again in the next episode.